I'm glad to be in a field that if I learn the next couple of years and I'm growing in it, it doesn't go away that quick.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
This is knowledge that not taught in schools. Just a little bit of information I've gathered in our training in the last month, 6 weeks, have made me go, wow, I wish somebody had told me this 20 years ago,
Welcome to the 7 Eagle Group podcast, your home for inspiring stories, valuable tips, and great advice from hard-charging veterans so you can lead a more rewarding and lucrative post-military career.
All right. Hey, guys, it is Jordy from 7 Eagle Group. I am here today with somebody who I admire so greatly, somebody who is just an incredible person who has now dedicated his life to helping his military brothers and sisters lead really rewarding and lucrative careers. He sells financial services to military veterans, helping with them with insurance, with annuities, with 401ks, with retirement plans, getting them out of debt, just doing this incredible work, getting them on the path to this career of just financial security and building wealth. He served 4 years in the U.S. Army as a radar specialist on a hovercraft, and he comes to us out of Huntsville, Alabama. Tim Swearengin. Hey, thank you, buddy, so much for taking a few minutes to share your story today. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Jordy. I appreciate the introduction. That was very grand.
Very grand. So let's start at the beginning, man. Tell us where you grew up? What made you decide to go down this path of serving in the Army?
Well, growing up, that's kind of a odd term because we've moved around so much in the Air Force. My dad was Air Force, and we spent 6 months here, a year there, when it was very common to move around. So I spent the better years of my high school in Goldsboro, North Carolina, Air Force Base. So
yeah, and you joined the military because I imagine your dad was a big influence of that decision.
That's an odd story too. My biological dad's Vietnam. He basically served in the Army, Vietnamese. So when I had to choose between Air Force and Army, I chose Army, even though Air Force offered me a position. So it's not that I want to disrespect my dad. I just kind of want to go to my roots. So the military, when I chose, they were giving me all kinds of MOSs, and I was like, wow, I could be stationed at a beach. So being young, 19 years old, the hovercraft thing was like being stationed at a beach was very, very lucrative for me at the time. So I made a decision based on personal interest instead of career interest.
Hey, we all make those sort of snap decisions when we're young and don't know anything, right? So where was your first station? Where did they send you?
My first station was Fort Story, and it's not too far from Fort Eustis, and they're both Virginia Beach.
Okay.
So I already knew I was going to be stationed at a beach, but I was hoping more California, Hawaii.
Hawaii, come on.
But got Virginia Beach. It wasn't bad, actually. It was very, very nice. I grew up there, basically. So my first 4 years from 18, 19 to 20, getting drinking age, was a really nice, twist.
Yeah.
They used Hawaii for my re-enlistment, but I didn't choose to re-enlist because Dad had cancer.
Wow.
I had a baby that I was far away from, so it wasn't in the cards for me to stay as a career.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit, the type of work you did when you served. I mean, it sounds really interesting working on a hovercraft with the radar. Right. But what that was like.
The first 2 years was on the Army hovercraft. It's basically just floating barges. They're aluminum barges with a fan attached to the back of them. So when you think about it, they're a little bit geared up more for carrying cargo. So the hovercraft we used weren't combat, of course. They were just transportation.
Yep.
And then when they got decommissioned during our time, we ended up going to what they call the LARTs, the LA. So those are the ones with the big wheels, the amphibious, wheels. So we drove them from the beach onto the water, and it was just amazing. So it was a fun time. Not too much in the radar field because they go about 18, 20 knots. And so pretty much you're just trying to avoid objects at that point.
Yeah. What was the experience like looking back now? You did the 4 years, and how do you feel that made you a better person? How'd that feel that set you up for success on the civilian side? What did you come away from that military experience with?
Right. It taught me leadership pretty much, how you had to make some sacrifices for your team. Within 6 months, I was E4, and I was as an E4 non-sergeant. I was actually leading a team. That taught me a lot. Mainly discovered that there's followers and leaders. Sometimes you give a task to a group, and some individual would be like, "Okay, finish my task. I'm gonna stand around and somebody tells me what to do." They would just give me, "Hey, we need this done," and then I would just figure out how to do it without having to bother them. So I got into leadership positions even at E4. And that's what it taught me, how to run a team, taught me how to deal with negotiations, and basically making something happen without really sounding like I was in charge, right? It was always just getting stuff done because I was there doing it with them. It wasn't like I was just telling them what to do. So
Yeah. I like that you said getting stuff done, because that's been my impression of you. Like, we met a few months ago and I immediately was drawn to you. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is friggin' mission focused. You know that saying, it's like, if you want to get something done, give it to somebody who's really busy. You are doing 100 things. You're running a restaurant. You're working with Seven Eagle Group part-time. And but the thing that's been most impressive to me is like, wow, as busy as this guy is, it's like he's so squared away, and you get things. And I imagine a lot of that comes from your background, you know?
Definitely. You got to have time management. I kind of couple a lot of things together. Even though I'm doing something during an hour, that hour may incorporate 2 or 3 other things at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's a real skill set, man. Good for you for being so organized. Now, you're not sitting around watching the Housewives on TV. I guarantee you, man. You're making use of every second and every day.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about, so you're working with us here at Seven Eagle Group, and specifically helping military veterans, transitioning service members who want to go down this career in the financial industry, which, as we know, is the world's most lucrative industry. What drew you to that career path, and why do you want to help your brothers and sisters with this?
Well, my transition is my first thing I did when I right out of the military was go into college. Of course, after I finished college, got a degree in computer science. That helped me out back in the day. But when I started, I was making good money, being 25. I was hitting like 85,000 a year. But if you compare that to nowadays, it's probably about 115, 120. Okay, so doing all the programming, I was going blind, sitting in front of a computer 80, 90 hours a week sometimes. So I decided to get away from that. My brother passed away during my field when I was with a computer corporation. Maybe reevaluate my life and go, what am I doing for this company? I'm giving my life to this company. I have no potential girlfriend, really. I had my very limited time with my family during the holidays. The rest of the time I was just in my office. So I had to go away from there. My dad passed away last year, so I kind of, without insurance, left the family kind of having to scrub in their pockets to bury him. He was Air Force. We did the Air Force burial, but as far as money wise, he wasn't very good with money. I did a lot of reading on, self-directed IRAs and things like that. So when I got interested in it, I was just very blessed to come across not only Seven Eagle, but Pinnacle Elite. So I'm just blessed to have an opportunity that, coming from someone that just had college, I don't want to have to go back to the engineering field and the software field. If you don't understand that, when you learn something in computer science, you're almost obsolete in 5 to 8 years because technology changes so fast. The platforms change, programming languages. So I'm glad to be in a field that if I learn the next couple of years and I'm growing in it, it doesn't go away that quick. This is knowledge that not taught in schools. Just a little bit of information I've gathered in our training in the last month, 6 weeks, has made me go, wow, I wish somebody had told me this 20 years ago, So here we are. I want to basically help other families that don't realize, if you don't have anything to cover, your parents passing away, if you don't plan for this, you're going to be stuck in a bad situation.
And what a rewarding, thing to do with your career, to be able to know, like, oh my God, I am giving these people peace of mind,
Definitely.
and helping them so they don't have to go through like what you and your family had to go through when your dad passed, and just, what a cool way to spend your days,
Well, I'm blessed to be able to have an opportunity to earn enough income to take care of my mom, my sisters, able, so.
Well, there's no doubt you are one of those hard chargers, man, who is, oh my God, gonna tear it up. I can't see how much money, I can't imagine how much money you're gonna make personally to secure your family's financial future. And I know you want to bring other people along with you on this journey. So, hey, kudos to you for doing that. If anyone listening to this would like to chat with Tim, you know, is one of the greatest guys out there, man, who just wants to help and give back. You can find him on LinkedIn, shoot him a note, set up a time to talk. He'll be more than happy, I'm sure, to sit down and evaluate where you are financially and where you want to be, and try to get you on that path, you know. Yeah, reach out to Tim, great guy. He'll let him just at least have that conversation. You'll learn something from it. And hey, if he can help you, I know that would make him happy. So Tim, thank you so much, buddy, for spending a few minutes sharing your story. It's very inspiring, and I wish you all the best.